Hello everyone, welcome to Tennis Fan Video. Coco Gauff suffers scary injury versus Alex Ella at Indian Wells. Coco Gauff retired from her third-round match at Indian Wells on Sunday with a scary left arm injury that felt like it was on fire, but was optimistic she could sort out the problem in time to play in Miami. The 21-year-old world number 4 was trailing Alexandra Ellis 6-2-2-0 when the American called it a day, sending the rising star from the Philippines into the last 16. I felt it like the second game of the first set, Coco Gauff said. I guess a simple way to put it, it felt like a firework was going off inside of my arm, and then my whole arm felt like it was on fire. And then, as the match played, it got progressively worse, even on shots that I wasn't even using my left arm for. It was a scary feeling. Gauff, whose two-handed backhand is usually a formidable weapon, added that she would have an MRI scan to get an accurate diagnosis of what she's been told is likely a nerve-related issue. Good news is they don't think it's going to be like a long-term type of situation. So, I should be fine for Miami, she said, looking ahead to the second leg of the ADP and WTA Sunshine double that follows on the heels of Indian Wells. It's just the second time Gauff has retired during a match. The first coming back in 2022 against Marie Baisova in Cincinnati. I'd rather finish the match and lose 6-0, but at that point, I just felt that because the pain was getting worse and I didn't know what was going on. I just felt it was better to stop, she said. Gauff was trailing 5-2 in the first set when she took a medical timeout for treatment on her arm. A trainer worked on Gauff's shoulder and arm, and after she was broken in the final game of the opening set, returned to wrap her forearm. It was to no avail, and Gauff went to the net and told Ella she was calling it a day after 54 minutes. Fire and strings. Coco Gauff's Indian Wells setback and the fragility of athletic greatness. On a warm California evening, under the glow of the desert sun, one of tennis' brightest stars faced something no athlete ever wants to confront in the heat of competition. A body that refuses to cooperate, a pain without warning, and a match slipping away not because of lack of will, but because of physical limits beyond control. This was the story unfolding during the third-round clash at the prestigious BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, a tournament many consider the unofficial fifth major where stars write their legacies and up-and-comers announce themselves to the world. On March 8, 2026, Coco Gauff, the 21-year-old world number 4 and reigning French Open champion, stepped onto Stadium 1 with all eyes on her. Across the net stood Alexandra, Alexa, the 20-year-old Filipina sensation, riding the surge of her own breakthrough season. The match began with the promise and tension of high stakes. Fans expected grit, power, and strategic brilliance. After all, these two had faced off only weeks earlier in Dubai. A match Gauff dominated 6-2. But sport at its core is a living thing. It evolves, surprises, and sometimes in an instant exposes vulnerability. The first signs when pain replaces rhythm. From the opening points, Ella's confidence was palpable. She moved quickly, returning deep, agile, attacking Gauff's backhand and serving with commendable precision. Yet, for much of the first set, it was still familiar clay court rhythms on hard court. Two elite athletes trading blows like seasoned boxers. But then, at approximately 5-2 in the first set, something shifted. Gauff, known for her tremendous defensive skill and explosive baseline movement, started to favor her left arm, not on her stronger forehand side, but on the arm that controls racket support, balance, and the two-handed backhand that is central to her game. What spectators initially mistook for strategic adjustments soon became visible discomfort. She signaled for the trainer a rare moment of pause that sent ripples through the crowd. After all, Gauff, a paragon of fitness and resilience, had retired from just one match before in her pro career. That first retirement came years ago in Cincinnati 2022 after rolling her ankle. To see her request treatment here was jarring, even for seasoned observers. It felt like it was on fire, the language of pain. In the medical timeout that followed, a brief but dramatic interlude, Gauff's team worked on her left arm. Trainers massaged her shoulder and forearm, then applied tape and compression bandaging. But when play resumed, the pain was not just there. It was escalating. What she had described afterward would strike even non-tennis fans with a shiver. It felt like a firework was going off inside my arm, that the whole limb felt like it was on fire. In sport, athletes often talk about pain, soreness, fatigue, discomfort, soreness from prior exertion. But this was different. This was a sharp nerve-like sensation that transcended mere muscle ache. Something that affected even movements where the arm wasn't actively involved. It wasn't a gradual downturn. It was an urgent reality that something inside her arm had betrayed her. This moment, raw, unexpected pain taking over an elite athlete's body lifts the lid on the hidden fragility of elite sport. Beneath the precision, the power, and the polished technique lies physical reality. Nerves, tendons, muscles, bones, structures that can falter, spasm, or misfire without warning. In tennis, where milliseconds and millimeters matter, an injury like this isn't just physical, it's psychological shock. The decision that defined the night. Trailing 6-2 and enduring worsening pain, Gauff made a decision that no competitor relishes. She walked to the net and with characteristic grace not and just respect, the scoreline, shook hands with Ella, but the unusual manner in which the match ended. The words were simple, but they conveyed a depth of sportsmanship rarely captured in short match recaps. A recognition that competition is about testing limits, not inflicting breakdowns. For Ella, it was a bittersweet advancement. In a post-match interview, she said something that resonates beyond mere tournament progress. No one likes winning like that, and no one likes losing like that. For a rising star, advancing to the round of 16 of a WTA 1000 event is a milestone. But to achieve it under such circumstances leaves a complex taste, pride mixed with empathy. Beyond the scoreboard, the human story, score lines, and statistics matter in tennis, but they almost never tell the full story. Behind every match point is a narrative of preparation, sacrifice, ambition, endurance, and vulnerability. Gauff's journey from Jacksonville to the heights of tennis glory has been marked by fierce competitiveness, intelligence on court, and a maturity beyond her years. To see her in such distress wasn't just a news headline. It was a reminder that even the strongest bodies have limits. The wider context heightens that narrative. In a sport where elite athletes are often conditioned like finely tuned machines, Gauff's early 2026 season had been formidable. Yet the calendar is grueling. Australian Open, back-to-back WTA events, the pressure of expectation as a Grand Slam champion and face of a generation. The Sunshine Double Indian Wells followed by Miami is a physical and mental marathon. Any injury, even minor, can throw months of planning into disarray. Tennis can be as brutal as it is beautiful, and at Indian Wells, the stark reality of an athlete's vulnerability was laid bare in a moment that left fans stunned. Coco Gauff, the 21-year-old world number 4 and reigning French Open champion, stepped onto Stadium 1 with the poise of a star, ready to assert her dominance against rising Filipina sensation Alexandra Ila. But what unfolded was far from the expected display of power and precision. It was a chilling reminder of how quickly sport can turn against even the strongest bodies. From the first points, Ila's confidence was palpable. She returned deep, aggressive shots, attacked Gauff's backhand, and served with surgical accuracy. Yet it was Gauff's discomfort that quickly became the story. During the first set, she began to favor her left arm, the arm critical to her two-handed backhand and balance, signaling a sudden, sharp pain that escalated with every swing. What initially seemed like a minor adjustment soon turned into visible distress, forcing the young American to call for a medical timeout. The crowd watched in silence, sensing that something was terribly wrong. Gauff described the sensation afterward in a way that sent chills even to casual observers. It felt like a firework was going off inside my arm, a burning, nerve-like pain that spread even to movements where the arm wasn't actively engaged. Trainers worked frantically, massaging, taping, and compressing her shoulder and forearm, but the pain persisted. Minutes passed, the match clock ticked on, and the stark reality set in. This was not just fatigue, soreness, or the usual aches of elite competition. This was the body betraying its champion. Trailing 6-2, Gauff made a decision no athlete ever wants to make. With characteristic grace, she walked to the net, shook hands with Ila, and apologized. "I'm sorry," she said, words that captured the tension between competition and human fragility. Ela advanced to the round of 16, but the victory felt bittersweet, an achievement shadowed by the dramatic circumstances that had defined it. Beyond the scoreboard, this moment highlighted a truth rarely discussed in sports. Athletic greatness is fragile. Training, talent, and preparation can only go so far when the human body is suddenly compromised. Gauff's injury was a reminder that behind every blistering serve and lightning-quick footwork lies a complex web of nerves, muscles, and tendons that can misfire without warning. In the harsh glare of Indian Wells, fans were reminded that even champions are not invincible. As Gauff looks ahead to Miami, optimism mingles with caution. The young American is resilient, determined, and already thinking about recovery. But for that evening in the California desert, the tennis world paused, not for a highlight, not for a rally, but for the fragility of a star in motion. A moment that was scary, human, and unforgettable. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.